Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to A-Level and AP Physics. In today's lesson, we will discuss past paper questions from May June 2025, Paper 1, Very 1. As always we will discuss these questions in detail so you can improve your conceptual understanding of physics and also you can have better understanding of these exam questions. Let's study together, let's improve together. Question 21 says, the student investigates a spring. The variation of the length of the spring with the force applied to the spring is shown in the figure. We need to find out what is the spring constant of the spring. So this question is pretty straightforward one. Simply we need to use Hooke's law. Means F is equal to K times delta X. So in this case, K will be equal to delta F divided by delta X, means the gradient of this curve. So we can take 2 points, we can take this 1 point, we can take this and other point. Now simply we can plug in values. So the maximum value of the force in this case is 2.4 and the minimum value is 0. So we can simply say this is 2.4 minus 0 divided by the change in length. So we have minimum value of length, we have the maximum. So this is the extension. That will be equal to 0.60 minus 0.20. So the answer in this case should be equal to 6.0 newtons per meter. So the answer for this question is D. Question 22 says the graph shows the variation with force of the extension of wire. The force is gradually increased to a maximum at Q and then gradually decreased to 0 at R. Which statement is correct? Now if you look at the given options, it is given to us along the line PQ, the wire obey Hooke's law. Along line PQ. This line is not a straight line, so it does not obey Hooke's law. Along the line RP, the spring constant is equal to extension of force. This is wrong. It has to be force over extension. So this option is also incorrect. So this is incorrect. The wire has elastic deformation at Q. Yes, because the wire returned back to original length. It means it was elastically deformed at this point. So it wasn't deformed elastically. So the answer for this question should be C. The work done in stretching the wire to D is equal to force times extension. No, it has to be divided by 2. So this option is also incorrect. So the answer is C. Question 23 says a uniform metal wire of length capital L and diameter D has spin constant K. What is the Young modulus of the metal? So we need to understand how we can determine Young modulus of the metal. If we sketch a graph between stress, unit is newtons per meter square, and strain has no unit. It is the ratio between two same quantities. In the first part of the graph is a straight line. Until this point, stress and strain, they are directly proportional. And the gradient of this graph is equal to Young modulus. After this one, the shape actually can be this shape. It depends on the material. So shape will be depending on the material. And this point is also the limit of proportionality. And until this point, Hooke's law is also obeyed. So these are the points you need to understand to answer this question. So we can simply draw this dotted line. So until this point, Hooke's law is also obeyed because it's a straight line. So it's just a straight line. Hooke's law is obeyed. So simply we can say Young modulus in this case is equal to stress divided by strain. And stress is force over cross-sectional area of the metal. If the pipe is hollow like this, so you have to take cross-sectional area of the metal. Means this area. How much is this cross-sectional? Means this area. You have to take. And this is divided by delta L by L. So if we simplify this one, we can simply say this FL divided by A times delta L. So if you look at the given answers, in the answers we don't see the force and we don't see cross-sectional area. So we have to write down force and cross-sectional area in terms of the quantities in the answer. So the force, as this will obey Hooke's law, we can say F is equal to K times delta L and A will be pi by 4 T squared diameter because cross-sectional area of wire is circular. Now simply we can plug in these values. So we can say F, we can replace this one with K times delta L. So this is L divided by, we have pi by 4 and here we have D square and this is multiplied by delta L. So now we need to just simplify. So delta L we can cancel with delta L and this 4 we can write down. This will be 4 K L over pi d square. So this is the final answer. So there are some key points you need to understand. The first key point is you need to understand the point until stress and strain, they are directly proportional. You need to find the gradient of that point. That would be to Young modulus. And until that point, spring or wire, they will also obey Hooke's law. And that's the main concept you need to understand. So this is also limit of proportionality, because until this point Hooke's law is obeyed. So the answer for this question should be D. So this is the answer. Question 24 says an aircraft produces the sound at a frequency of 30 Hz. The speed of sound in air is 330 meters per second. The aircraft is directly in front of the stationary observer and travels in a straight line towards or away from the observer. The observer hears the sound from the aircraft at a frequency of 20 Hz. What is the speed and direction of the aircraft? So if you look at this given information, so here we have frequency of the source, because this is the frequency of the sound produced by aircraft. So this is Fs, and this is the frequency of the sound heard by observer. So this is F naught. So as in this case, F naught is lower than Fs. So it means source moving outward. So this is, we can conclude from given information. So we can say, in this case, source is moving. Now we need to find out the speed. So simply we can write a Doppler effect equation. F observed, this is equal to speed of the wave divided by speed of the wave plus, this is speed of the wave, plus speed of the source multiplied by frequency of the source. So we need to find out Vs in this case. So we can write down F observed times Vw plus Vs. This is equal to Vw times Fs. So we need to find out Vs. So we can multiply this inside. So we can say F naught times sub W times F naught times Vs. This is equal to Vw times Fs. This is Vw, speed of the sound. So we need to find out Vs. So we can write out Vs, this will be equal to Vw times Fs minus F naught times Vw, and this will be divided by F naught. So we can take common in this case now. Vw is common, so we can take out. So we have here Fs minus F naught, and this is divided by F naught. Now simply we need to plug in values and we can find the answer. So speed of the wave is given. So speed of the wave we have here, so this is 330, and source frequency we have minus observed frequency divided by observed frequency. So if we solve this one, we will get 165 meters per second. So away from observer 165, so the answer is C. So this is how you can approach Doppler effect problems. Question 25 says which statement about longitudinal and transverse wave motion for a progressive wave is correct? Option A says all transverse and longitudinal waves require a medium for propagation. Transverse wave, all transverse waves, electromagnetic waves, they are also transverse waves, but they do not require medium for propagation. So it means this option is. Option B says all transverse waves travel at the same speed, but longitudinal waves can travel at different speeds. Same speed is incorrect because speed of the wave depends on the medium. So the same type of wave, it can have different speeds in different medium. So you need to understand speed of the wave speed, it depends on type of the wave and it depends on, so we can say type of wave. So option B is also not correct. Option C says in both transverse waves and longitudinal waves, a particle with zero displacement has a maximum speed. This option is correct. So if we draw a wave, so let's say y-axis is representing displacement and this is representing distance. So the wave will look like this. So this is the wave. So in this case, the particle at equilibrium at this point, this particle will have the maximum speed. It will have the maximum speed. So it will have V max, and particle at the top, its speed will be equal to 0 because its direction is changing. And so option C is correct. Option D says in a longitudinal wave there is a net movement of particles in direction of travel of the wave, but there is no net movement of particles in a transverse wave. Particles, actually there is no net movement of particles in direction of travel. So what is transfer in direction of travel? That is energy. Particles only oscillate. If you look at this particle, this will be oscillating up and down, but this particle will not move with the wave in direction of propagation. So particles oscillate, they have no net movement. So particles don't travel with the wave. So what is transfer along the wave? That is energy. Waves do not transfer matter, they transfer energy. So the answer for this question should be C. So D is also correct.